This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and for the first time, I'm delighted to be joined by Gregory Morales over Zoom. Gregory, first and foremost, how are you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing great. Just here at the house waiting, heading before heading out to the gym.
It's good to hear that you're doing well, mate. Obviously, your first time with us, as I've mentioned, but as I've asked everybody so far, how have you found lockdown?
Uh Boring, fun, a lot of alone time, I'd say. Not I can't really go out with my friends, but you know, I'm doing the most of it.
Talking about that, obviously, you're still only very young. You're only 19 still, I believe.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So, obviously, you're only a matter of a few years younger than me, but with boxing, with the career you have to be very strict, regardless of your outside life. You have to have a strict diet. Most fighters, they try to be not to drink. You can't just let yourself loose. How do you find being
hmm
so young and not being able to kind of enjoy yourself the way that some of your friends will be able to?
Uh, I mean, I'm very dedicated to my craft, so I've never really had a problem with, like, I always boxing first and friends after, but I don't know. I've always been like that, so it's never really been a problem.
Obviously, as I mentioned to you briefly off camera, Gregor, I want to kind of reflect over your career, your route into boxing, and what have you. So let's start from the beginning. What's your earliest memory of boxing?
My earliest memory would be walking into my first gym. Uh, at first, I thought it was wrestling. I thought it was, I thought it was wrestling. I don't know why I thought it was wrestling. And I walked in and I realized right away it was in wrestling. And yeah, I loved it. I just fell in love with it. It kept me occupied. I was a very I'd say energetic kid. You know, I was always bothering people. You know what I'm saying? But boxing really helped out. I'd get home tired, just go straight to bed. So
How old was you when that happened? Then how old was you when you did step into a boxing ring for the first time?
8.
8. Oh, blimey.
Yeah,
So obviously you get
yeah.
11 years of experience there. Starting out then, when you was just starting to go through the motions, hitting pads, hitting the bags, how was you finding it? What kind of made you want to continue with boxing? When did the point come when you thought, I could make a career out of boxing?
Um, Once I saw my first pro fight, um, it was a show here in San Antonio, and I mean, I used to see it because I used to be chunky, so I used it as like a um I guess to waste my energy at the gym, but also a healthy way. And I went to my first pro match, and I really liked it. I liked the way that everything was just going on, like everything, the way everything was happening. So I was like, you know what, this is something I would like to do.
What kind of amateur pedigree did you kind of have when you was coming through?
Uh, Towards the end, I wasn't really fighting a lot, because I've always felt like I've had a pro style, so I wasn't really going out to big tournaments, but I was able to win a couple national titles, so I have pretty good experience, amateur pedigree.
What made you kind of decide to turn over then at such a young age? We're seeing a kind of a trend as well now. We're seeing a lot more people similar age to yourself turning over a lot sooner than what maybe years gone by they would have done. Why do you think it is, and why in your case have you?
Well, my case, it was my birthday. My birthday is December 19th, so if I wanted to go to the Olympics, even at that, I would be too young for the ones that were gonna happen right now. So I'd have to wait to 2024. By then, I'd be 24, and I wasn't gonna get enough tournaments that year when I turned pro, all because of my age, because of my birthday. I wasn't old enough to qualify. So, I was like, you know what? Let me just take the pro. Let me see what it's about.
So why do you think it is that we're currently seeing a bit of a trend, like I say, of guys turning over at such a young age? Are they just kind of seeing there is a lot more money in the professional game than what there is for amateur? Is that what's kind of tempting people to turn professional, do you think?
Mm, I'd say I wouldn't say that because I mean, unless you're like very like a very talented person. That's you get money right off the bat. But at first, it's not really that much money, but I feel like it's just to get ahead of the game. That's the way that I saw it. I felt as if I turned pro at 16, I would be ahead of the game.
How did you find turning over a professional? When you first turned over, how did you find it? The transition from amateur to
Oh,
professional.
it was different. Getting hit with 8-ounce gloves is not the same as getting hit, with the headgear. Every little punch, you feel it, and that was that was mainly the difference. The training, we just picked it up more miles, more intensity, but the big difference was when you walk in the ring, and the people, and it's just everything is way different from the amateurs.
Talk to me about that, Gregory. What's the mental state of somebody, especially so young as yourself, when you do get hit by those 8-ounce gloves for the first time? How do you kind of prepare for the next punch? What's going through your mind because you wouldn't have been used to it previously?
Uh, I do remember actually the first time I got hit with an 8-ounce glove. I was like, "Yo, I'm in here for real." I walked in there thinking like, "Yeah, I know what I'm doing," but once you're in there, it's different. It's a different story. You get hit, and you're like, "Oh, okay, this is a fight." We're in here for real, and but it it didn't really affect me. I'd say that I was like, I was prepared for it. People, my parents, my coach, that were preparing me mentally. So.
As your career's progressed and you're now 11 and 0, how have you found kind of your journey so far as a professional? What's been the biggest learning curve?
I've learned how to be more, I'd say, more patient. When I first started, I'd find myself, I'd catch a fighter and I'll try to go for it right away. And now I've learned that you could do that, but there's a more technical way, and making it look better. So taking my time punches.
You mentioned, taking your time. You said being patient with regards to your own boxing style, but just with the, boxing in general, when you have a young, exciting prospect who has reached a similar record to yourself, 11 and over, there's a lot of expectation put onto you, a lot of pressure from fans to want to see you in bigger fights quicker than what you'd like. Have you experienced that all? Have you started to see people kind of wanting to see you in bigger fights, maybe pushing yourself quicker on your own journey?
Yeah, there's always people. People are always, telling you this and that. But at the end of the day, I talk to my corner, my manager, my parents, and we we all agree on stuff, and we go from there.
Talking about your route to Golden Boy Promotions and Oscar De La Hoya, when did kind of Oscar or the team notice you?
Um, it was crazy. We had been talking to my manager, Mr. Maldonado, and he had been telling me like, something's gonna happen. Just be on the lookout. Just stay at the gym, everything. And sure enough, 3 weeks before the fight, they called me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to take it?" And you don't get opportunities like that. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go, just do it." And we went, did what we had to do, and we came out with the victory. So I feel like they did like me, so I'm hoping for good news.
What was it like when you kind of first met the team?
I haven't met Oscar yet, but yeah, but I've met Mr. Ramiro, Gabe, and manager Mr. Maldonado. I met them, and it was a different experience. They know what they're talking about. So you learn from being there with them.
Are you feeling the pressure on yourself and knowing that you're still trying to secure a deal with them, but you're still obviously you're in that eye line, they can see the potential. Are you seeing the pressure to make sure that you don't slip up?
Yes. Well, I mean, I wouldn't really see it as pressure because, it is my job, but, um, I do train, I train it. I use it as motivation, every day at the gym, to get to that point.
How do you kind of see the coming years or so, or months even of your career kind of playing out?
What do you mean?
How do you see the next 2 or 3 years of your career playing now?
Just keep on fighting, staying active, and or hopefully I'm ready of my camp and everybody. They feel that I'm ready, hopefully, for a world title in 2-3 years.
That's something I was about to come on to. The world title ambition. You're obviously boxing at super bantamweight. It's a stacked division. Some brilliant fighters. Murodjon
Okay.
Akhmadaliev, Ray Vargas, and Navarrete as well. In your opinion, who is the best world champion at super bantam?
I'd say right now, Emmanuel Navarrete is leading everything. He's the one that's I feel like he's bringing the attention. Well, there's also a great fighter here from Texas, Brandon Figueroa.
Yeah,
I feel like both of them are bringing attention back to the 122 division. So,
Gregory. Before I do let you go to enjoy the rest of your day, what would you like to say to everyone who tunes in to watch our interview?
if y'all didn't know me, my name is Gregory Morales. Hopefully y'all become fans, and hopefully y'all like my style.
Gregory, it's been a pleasure to
Oh,
speak. Go
you
on,
go.
mate. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, I also like to give a shout out to Coahuila, all my people out there. Un saludos a todos y adiós miro. That's it.
That's all good, Gregory. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you and speak to you for the first time. I'm sure I'll
Thank
see
you.
you in person soon when lockdown's kind of eased and we can travel again. Best of luck with the coming months and years of your career, and thank you once again for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you for taking the time, to do this interview and everything. Appreciate it for having me on here, and thank you.
It's my pleasure, Gregory. Thank you for your time, mate.